In the century that elapsed since Bishop William Quarter planted the seed of Catholicism in Illinois, the original territory of the Diocese of Chicago was divided 5 times. The last partitioning was made in the spring of 1949 when the Holy See created the Diocese of Joliet. This is the story of that diocese. The city of Joliet was chosen for the see of the new diocese because of its central location, also because it is predominantly Catholic. Joliet is an industrial city. The manufacture of durable and consumer goods brought prosperity to the city and have stabilized its economy. Joliet is a good place to live and to raise a family. Successive waves of immigration during the 90s and at the turn of the century brought thousands of new families into the Joliet area. They manned the factories and they worked the machines. They laid the bricks and they poured the concrete. They fused the steel and they paved the streets. They built Joliet. With huge barges bringing vital raw materials for its factories and a network of railroads carrying its products to world markets, the future of Joliet looks bright indeed. The Most Reverend Martin McNamara, a pastor of one of Chicago's suburban parishes, was appointed bishop of the new diocese. The first major undertaking of Bishop McNamara was the building of St. Raymond Nonatus Cathedral. Priests, religious, and laity responded most generously to the bishop's appeal for a mother church for the new diocese. When the cathedral was completed in 1955, it became a symbol of unity for the whole diocese. Built in neoclassic style in the form of a Latin cross, St. Raymond's Cathedral is a gem of ecclesiastical architecture, ranking with the finest churches in our country. The dedication of the cathedral in the spring of 1955 by the Cardinal Archbishop of Chicago will always be remembered as one of the great highlights of the Diocese of Joliet. It was a day of great joy for clergy and laity alike. Hundreds of diocesan and religious priests from Joliet and the neighboring diocese, joined by a long line of monsignori, abbots, bishops, and archbishops from all over the country, accompanied Bishop McNamara and Cardinal Stritch to the new church for the official dedication services. For His Eminence, it was a twofold honor, inasmuch as he himself had consecrated and installed Joliet's bishop in 1949. Not since the installation of Bishop McNamara had there been so many distinguished prelates from all over America in Joliet at one time. St. Joseph's Parish was founded in 1891. The present church was built in 1904. It was the first steel and stone structure in the city of Joliet. Here we see Bishop McNamara being escorted into the church for the celebration of the annual Labor Day Mass. This parish is largely made up of people of Slovenian descent. The Slovene Catholic Union, now a national organization, began here. In 1902, St. Anthony Parish was established in the heart of the downtown area of Joliet for the growing Italian-American population. Monsignor Gregory Kloos has been its pastor for almost a quarter of a century now. The people of St. Anthony's are proud of their church and of the full spiritual life it has given them for the last 50 years. Here is St. Mary's Church, distinguished by 3 bishops as former pastors and 80 girls as religious. It is now administered by the Carmelite Fathers, who also conduct Joliet Catholic High. When the Diocese of Joliet was formed out of the 7 counties taken from Chicago, Rockford, and Peoria, there were 12 parishes in the Sea City. Most of them were established during the brick-and-mortar era of expansion, which occurred at the turn of the century, when a great influx of immigrants began to swell the city's Catholic population. This castle-like building houses the diocesan chancery. Assisting Bishop McNamara in the administration of the diocese is Monsignor Romeo Blanchette, upon whose shoulders rests the twofold responsibility of Vicar General and Chancellor, each office in itself enough to tax the full-time energy of one man. The duties of a chancellor vary from the custody of the official records of the diocese to the delegated work involving consultations and interviews with priests and other diocesan officials. All plans for parochial expansion are carefully reviewed by him before final approval is given by the bishop. Finally, all expenditures approved by the bishop are paid in this office over the signature of the chancellor, who is the official treasurer of the diocese. When Joliet became a diocese, there were 68 parishes with resident pastors to serve a Catholic population of 90,500. At present, there are 84 parishes in the diocese, and the population has increased to 160,000. It would be impossible within the scope of one film to show all the churches and institutions of a diocese. There are 73 cities and towns in the Diocese of Joliet, each with its own progressive Catholic community centered around the parish. The paternal solicitude of the bishop for the spiritual welfare of the faithful of his diocese extends to every parish, both large and small, within his see. The spectacular growth of the diocese in the short time of its existence could not have been accomplished without the wholehearted support and the inspiring generosity of all the parishes. The expansion of a progressive school system for the education of Catholic children throughout the diocese was one of the first administrative tasks undertaken by Bishop McNamara. The important office of Superintendent of Schools was given to Monsignor Joseph Wagoner, pastor of St. Walter's Parish in Roselle, who personally supervises the educational program of the diocese. There are in 1957 23,721 children attending the 64 elementary parochial schools within our diocese. Some think, conservatively speaking, that this number will be doubled within the next 10 years. "603 sisters, representing 27 different religious communities, teach in the Catholic schools of the Diocese of Joliet. Many of these qualified teachers have degrees from the country's foremost colleges and universities. Many of the mother houses of these sisters now conduct their own normal school for the preparation of sisters as teachers in the parochial school system of Catholic America. The academic standard maintained in the Catholic schools of the diocese not only conforms to the requirements of the State Board of Education, but in many respects exceeds these requisites. The teaching of religion in the classroom is an integral part of Catholic education and is heavily stressed in the parochial schools of the diocese without neglecting or minimizing the importance of secular education. To help relieve the pressure put upon the already overtaxed religious orders for more teachers in order to staff our growing school system, the diocese has to employ 121 qualified lay Catholic teachers. The number increases each year. We find a shortage even here. Realization that Catholic high school education is as important for the boy and girl of today as the formative years of the grade school prompted Bishop McNamara to greatly expand the facilities of our secondary schools and to erect several new high schools in the diocese. One of the outstanding schools in this category is St. Patrick's at Kankakee, which has an enrollment of 557 boys and girls and is one of the most modern school buildings in the entire country. There are 13 Catholic high schools in the Diocese of Joliet. All of them are fully accredited institutions whose graduates may be admitted into any college in our country. With help from the diocese, the Franciscan Sisters of Mary Immaculate, one of the oldest communities in the diocese, built this beautiful academy for girls on Larkin Road in Joliet at a cost of over $2 million. It is staffed with 39 nuns and has an enrollment of 950 students. Immaculate Conception High School at Elmhurst is staffed by the Sisters of St. Agnes. The Benedictine Sisters conduct a day and resident high school for girls at Lisle. Tower Hall in Joliet with its stately architecture and beautiful campus, is the only college for women in the diocese. Accredited by the North Central Association of Colleges and 2 universities, St. Francis College is empowered to confer academic degrees in art, science, and music. The school offers an academic program which is fully integrated with the teachings of Catholic philosophy. Its graduates are fully equipped for the moral responsibilities of a professional career and for the task of giving earnest and faithful service to their community, to their church, and to their family. In its modern laboratories, students are given every opportunity for extensive study and research in the field of science. Special courses are also offered in music and in art appreciation, in drawing as well as designing. The Lewis Memorial College of Science and Technology is also located in the Diocese of Joliet. Originally established as a junior college, it was chartered as a full college in 1950, and a few years later was given a Class A university accrediting from the University of Illinois. This is one of the very few Catholic colleges in the country offering an aeronautical training program. There are 2 fine Catholic hospitals in the diocese. St. Mary's at Kankakee is conducted by the Sister Servants of the Holy Heart of Mary, who also teach in several of the parochial schools within our diocese. St. Joseph's at Joliet is conducted by the Franciscan Sisters of the Sacred Heart. Both institutions are planning large additions to expand their present facilities. The advantages of a Catholic hospital are apparent enough to Catholics who know that both their spiritual and their physical needs will be taken care of in these institutions. Every physician and surgeon who practices in a Catholic hospital must be thoroughly competent in his particular field and must strictly adhere to the special code by which these hospitals are governed. Last year, 38,560 patients were treated in the 2 Catholic hospitals within our diocese. Those who were served were not Catholics alone. People of all faiths know and respect the excellent record of our Catholic hospitals. Both hospitals are fully equipped to do extensive research in medicine and in surgery. The laboratories are staffed with highly trained technicians. Catholic hospitals are proud of the high medical standards they maintain, an added assurance to those who need their services that they are getting the very best that science has to offer in their behalf. Maternity cases and pediatrics are given specialized care and attention by specially trained personnel in both the Joliet and Kankakee hospitals. In fact, the treatment and cure of many child's diseases has met with such spectacular success in both these institutions that they have been brought to the attention of the entire medical world. St. Joseph's and St. Mary's also conduct large training schools for nurses with a combined enrollment of about 200. There are 2 homes for orphan children in our diocese. One at Bourbonnais, conducted by the Dominican Sisters of Springfield, and another, Guardian Angel, at Joliet, where the Franciscan Sisters are in charge. Both institutions are under the direct supervision of the Catholic Charities Bureau, which also supervises the adoption of infants and the placing of children into Catholic foster homes. Thousands of dollars are earmarked each year by your Catholic charities for these institutions, which constitute the biggest item on our annual charities budget. This is a home for a king-size family of children on whom the sisters lavish affection as they do their best to compensate for the loss these children have suffered in losing their own homes and parents. The children are happy and contented, as you can see. When medical treatment is needed, it is supplied promptly. Care of the children's health is of utmost importance. Regular visits to the dentist's office is also a must for every child. Religion plays an important role in the lives of these children, many of whom are the byproducts of a broken home. Being taught how to pray is often a new experience for these youngsters. In the chapel where Mass is said daily for them, their souls are nourished with the heavenly bread. In the refectory, hearty appetites are satisfied with large quantities of food, and there is always a second helping for those who want one. None of these children look undernourished. Guardian Angel Home maintains its own school. The sisters who teach these youngsters are qualified teachers with many years of classroom experience. The hundreds of useful citizens who have gone forth from Guardian Angel in the past are a testimonial to the sound training they received in this institution and are a credit to the sisters who raised them. Raising the children in an environment as near as possible to a normal home is a task for which the good sisters are well equipped. But like all mothers, they are grateful when the day's work is done and their young charges have been put to bed. Tomorrow will be another day, and certainly one equally as full in its activities. Also under supervision of the Catholic Charities is the St. Vincent de Paul Society, which is always first in an emergency and provides relief until more permanent arrangements can be made by the Catholic Bureau. The diocese has a well-organized lay apostolate in which the bishop and laity work in closest harmony for the promotion of Catholic action both on a diocesan as well as a parish level. Here we see a Legion of Mary meeting in session. They are listening to a report from one of the members. The Christian family movement is also very active in the diocese and is doing an excellent work in its own particular field. There is also an active confraternity of Christian doctrine to give religious instruction to children attending public schools. There is a Catholic youth organization. There are several teenage clubs and many other Catholic social activities. The Knights of Columbus, the Daughters of Isabella, and the Council of Catholic Women are great assets to the apostolate in the Diocese of Joliet. The Holy Name Societies, the Altar and Rosary groups, and the Young Ladies' Sodalities are the backbone of parish life with their monthly communion breakfasts, their annual lay retreats, and other spiritual activities. Since the founding of the diocese in 1949, the Catholics of Joliet have more than tripled their annual contributions to the Catholic missions. More than $100,000 now collected each year for the propagation of the faith finds its way into the Holy Father's own mission agencies. This does not include the $20,000 or more each year contributed by the Holy Childhood Association, which is very active throughout the parochial schools of the diocese. For a diocese the size of Joliet, these figures are exceptionally fine, and they reflect the generosity of the people toward the mission work of our church. The New World, a Catholic newspaper published weekly for the Archdiocese of Chicago and the Diocese of Joliet, keeps Catholics informed on all events and issues of interest to Catholics. News items pertaining to the Joliet Diocese are released through the Public Information Bureau, supervised by Monsignor Blanchette, Father Desmond, and Miss Knowles. The New World has 250,000 paid subscribers, making it the largest Catholic weekly in the country. There is hardly a home in the diocese where this paper is not read. 32 different communities of sisterhoods are active in the Diocese of Joliet. Several of them have their mother houses here. The Franciscan Sisters, daughters of the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary, built this beautiful mother house at Wheaton within the past few years. The Franciscans of the Immaculate Heart, one of the oldest communities in the diocese, have their mother house on the campus of St. Francis College in Joliet. The Notre Dame sisters came to Bourbonnais in 1860, where the novitiate of their American province is now located. The ladies of Loretto, originally an English community, have their novitiate at Wheaton, where they also conduct a kindergarten. The Benedictine sisters are located at Lisle, where they conduct Sacred Heart Academy for girls. A branch of this community belongs to the Eastern Rite. Several orders of men have large monasteries and seminaries for the training of their own religious in the Diocese of Joliet. At present, there are around 150 religious priests in our diocese. The Maryknoll Fathers have a large seminary at Glen Ellen. The Claretian Fathers operate St. Jude's Preparatory Seminary at Momence. Another branch of the Franciscan Fathers recently completed this beautiful major seminary at West Chicago. The Benedictine Fathers conduct St. Procopius College and Seminary at Lisle, where they also maintain a separate department for the education of students for the diocesan clergy. We now come to one of the most important functions a bishop performs, the sacred rite of ordination to the priesthood. The greatest need today in the Diocese of Joliet is an increase in vocations. Priests are a bishop's biggest asset, for without them he cannot carry on the divine mission with which he is charged at his own consecration. The future growth of a diocese depends upon the growth of its clergy. These are the men who were ordained for the diocese in 1957. 5 times their number would not suffice to fill all the vacancies which have created by the expansion of parishes and schools during recent years. There is no happier moment for a bishop than when he imposes his hands on the head of a candidate and makes him a priest. Nor is there a more solemn moment in the ritual of Holy Church than the ordination ceremonies which we witness here only briefly. men are now ready to take their places with their brother priests in the Diocese of Joliet. That army of dedicated men whose untiring zeal and whose unstinted devotion have been such a great consolation to Bishop McNamara, who relied upon the loyalty and the wholehearted support of his priests for the great expansion program he undertook upon becoming bishop of this see. Into their consecrated hands, the Eternal Shepherd has entrusted the spiritual welfare of Joliet's 160,000 Catholics. They are the dispensers of his sacraments. They are the spiritual dynamos that set into motion the life-giving flow of sanctifying grace. The ambassadors of the eternal Word of God as they make known his divine will to man. Yes, they are, too, the physicians of souls as they pardon and absolve. When there is need for their services, they stand in readiness at all times to serve. The weather is never too inclement, the distance never too far to answer the summons from someone in need of their ministrations. Bringing viaticum to the sick is only part of their priestly function. In the classrooms of our parochial schools, we see them teaching our children the truths of holy religion, and on the playgrounds, the rules of fair play and good sportsmanship. To their rectory doors and into their lives come people of all walks of life. The earnest seeker after the eternal truth, the convert who wishes to be admitted to the embrace of Holy Mother the Church. The young girl who comes to talk about her vocation to the religious life. The high school graduate who wants to know of a suitable Catholic college to attend next fall. Sometimes it is nothing more serious than a recommendation for a new job. Then there is the caller at the back door who has been jobless for many weeks and is now cold and hungry. He comes to the priest because he knows this man of God will not turn him away empty-handed, even though he is not a member of his faith. This may have been this man's first meeting with a priest, but it is one he will not forget quickly. then are the men who serve the Diocese of Joliet, the clergy of Joliet. They are the church's frontline soldiers, but unfortunately there are still too few of them. They are the right arm of Joliet's bishop. They are the representatives of God before men. May God bless them, and may the Acorn continue to grow.